All right, we ready? And grab your bag and go. That's it. Move, move. Go, 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 go. One, Armani suits and run.
I can always trim it too.
All right, Albert. Can you say week 8, 20 suits and run? No? All right.
No birth.
It's week 8, Armani suits and run. Special guest, Albert Besse here with us. What are you looking for? You want daddy's phone? All right. All right. Let's recap week 7. 1-4. Not a great week. Things got off to a rough start with the 40 international correspondent, the 40
He's
pick.
a problem. Big problem.
We have a problem on our hands. And we're live right now. Here, I'm gonna hand them to you.
Later, Bert.
Bye, buddy. But 40 drops to 0-3. International correspondent. Patriots +5. Things got off to a good start. I mean, Pats were up, what, 10-0? And then Jags rattled off, I think it was like 25 straight points. And at that point we're in dire straits. So, not great, not a great way to start off the week. That's now 3 times we've been burned by the 40 pick. He's got one shot left, the Germany game. But he is up for debate as it pertains to having to make the Vegas trip next year to get us signed up. Not good. Any thoughts on the pick, the game? 40?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just in a position like we were kind of talking about pre-show where if he goes 0 for 4, I think there just needs to be a discussion. I know that we were talking through text in the last couple of weeks, just kind of saying like, he doesn't really qualify. It's kind of the Paul Skeens thing. But if you go 0 for 4, I think you need to at least have a chance. Maybe we do something wheel related that has been kind of our thing on the show. So if you come in last, of course, that is your punishment. You have to go make the trip. You have to go sign up, do everything like that. Maybe we do like a wheel where it's mostly the person that comes in last between us 3, but then 40 gets a sliver or 2 on the wheel. And there's just a chance that he has to be the one that makes the trip. I don't know. If you go 0 for 4 as our angel investor, there just needs to be some sort of punishment.
I mean, I don't even know if it's a sliver. I feel like it's a 50-50 cut because and here's why. I know it's a volume thing, but at the same time, all he has to do is research one game for the week on 4 different occasions. And he's gotten it wrong all 3 times so far.
Lock in. You got to lock in.
Like,
you got to get at least one. It's like, I mean, going into that third one, it's like, okay, it almost feels like a gimme now at this point. Like, how can he possibly get this wrong? Of course, he goes 0 for 3. So it's just,
yeah.
you can't do that. It's damaging. And I mean, I remember, I think it was maybe the first week that he did it. There was sort of a butterfly effect there where if we just didn't have him, we would have picked the primetime game that we were all, I think, in consensus on. So that would have made us, I think, 4-1. Instead, we went 3-2, I believe. If he didn't pick it and the wheel went different, then all sorts of things would have happened. Yeah, it's totally just thrown off our mojo, I think. So it's maybe good to shake him and just get back to our normal thing. It's kind of like just getting back to our game plan, running the ball. We're going back to our 3 picks, the 2, the Sunday night, the Monday night game. I think it's going to be good to just get back to basics. It's like shortening up the stance when you're in a slump.
Bowen, any thoughts live from the NICU? By the way, I should have opened up the show by saying we have a new parent on the podcast.
Yeah,
That probably is the bigger news. Yeah,
that is the bigger.
40 going 0-3 is huge news though. But
Well,
yeah,
I think we're thrown off by
Lyla Bowen's board. We lead the show with 40's 0-3 record, but
well, we let the show off with Albert. we had Albert on the pod.
that is very true. That is very true.
Yeah. But Bowen, you want to give us a live view from the NICU right now?
yeah, we're actually gonna pop open the
This is a big moment.
do a little unveiling reveal. I don't know if that's correct.
Both apply.
I think all 3.
Yeah, I think I covered the base. So we're gonna pop in here. She's tanning up a little bit right now. She's got her
LB.
gun, so you can't really see her
Look at
cute
this.
face. But little toes.
Hey, girl.
right there.
Look at those toes.
This is Lyla. Lyla Mae Bowen, born on the 22nd. A couple days old. She's real early. Came 2 months early. Big surprise, but she is as healthy as can be. Mom is a rock star and
Of
doing
course she
great.
is.
And yeah, we are gonna probably be at the NICU for at least a couple weeks. Kind of feeling it out now, but the indication is 2 to 3 weeks in here. She'll be baking up because she's like negative days old, obviously. So she's got to
She's catching up.
pretty much got to stay in the womb, just not in obviously in the belly. So
Yeah.
she's gonna be growing away, doing doing her thing. But yeah, big addition to the pod, big addition to my life. So yeah, picking with a new support with me. So it's good. Maybe this is what the pod needed. Was,
I think it is.
Coming in with
This is our
new
catalyst.
perspective, right? Coming in with new perspective.
yes.
Well, you
look
just
at
gained the
it
dad
differently.
strength, of course.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep. Yeah, that's already coming in like.
And it's
fucking-
pretty sweet that you guys get to just watch her grow.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty light lifting for me. I'm just sitting here, eating a bunch of the free vanilla puddings in the fridge over there, and
Oh my god, I crushed
just
them.
chocolate milk like 3 times
Oh
a day
my
for
god,
me.
I go crazy.
I'm building the dad strength up, and you know,
We gotta get you
no easy way to do it, but just milk.
uh-oh.
Oh no.
Up.
What'd you say?
Oh,
He's
okay,
back.
we got him back.
All right,
We
you're
lost
back.
you for a
Me?
second.
Is it
Yeah,
me?
you-
Oh no. Do I need that? Let me
No,
turn.
you're good now. You glitched really quick,
No,
but you're good now.
I didn't have the Wi-Fi on at the hospital, and the service is a bit spotty, so it should be better now. I didn't realize my Wi-Fi was off.
There you go.
Should
There
be
you go.
should be better going forward.
Yeah, it was only for like a second. I think we actually caught everything you said though.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. All right. Well, I think all right. So let's
It would be something if we went 5-0.
It
That's
would.
all I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's something to that. Yeah, there'd be
We
something to
are.
that. Definitely.
So do it. It would really be something if we went 5-0 for this girl.
This has gotta be the week. I might what was because I do every week, I do put down just in case we go 5-0.
Yeah.
I do parlay our picks.
Yeah.
What how many weeks was she when she was born?
22 or 32. Sorry,
32. All right, that's how much I'm putting on the parlay this week. I'm going 32.
Wow.
What
This
was it
is
like 32 weeks and like a certain number of days?
4.
All right, $32.40 going on the parlay this week.
Oh my God.
That's what we're doing.
You're telling
We're
me
really testing destiny right now. We're really testing it. Like
but she was born on the
exists.
22nd, right?
She was born on the
She was
22nd?
born on the 22nd.
Kieran's number?
And it was 32 weeks and 4 days, my other number.
And she was born at 444.
Stop.
So
I gotta go.
My twin. That's my twin.
I gotta go to Stowaway tonight and play some Keno.
You gotta go play
Ooh.
some numbers.
I may need to play some Keno. Like
You
Real
just got a
soon.
good list of numbers right there.
yeah.
So what do we got? We got 4. All right, we got 4, 22, 32,
44.
44.
hmm
What's your room number?
Oh, 7.
Lucky 7. Oh my god.
I mean,
Oh my
that's
god.
such a shoe.
This is unbelievable.
Are you kidding me? Hold
I
on.
may need to go meet
Oh my
you.
God.
I may need to go meet you at the Stowaway.
You gotta dip out of the NICU real quick to go play.
Oh my god.
All
Yeah,
right.
Hey,
that's pretty
you gotta
crazy.
send this to Triple G. You gotta
Dude, no, that guy is staying
gotta send
far
this
away
to
from my
Triple G,
number-
bro.
my baby numbers.
She has so many numbers on her side. Oh my god.
All right, so hold
Tristan,
on.
I'm gonna have to flood you with Karen, have you sent him any of Triple G?
No, I haven't.
We gotta. All right, we'll get you in the fold there. He's
All
the
right,
worst.
so-
he might be the worst guy ever, but
All
really.
right, so hold on. I gotta recap this because the numbers just kept coming. So we got 4, we got 7, we got 22, we got 32, and 44.
Yeah. Yep.
Those are the numbers. Okay. I'm texting this to you guys just so we have record of it. Okay.
I might have
Wow.
to buy in. I might have to send you some money.
Yeah,
Or you
absolutely.
know what? I put in 2 parlays for you like a week ago on
What, what
on
were,
my thing.
were those what, $10 each?
Yeah,
All right, $20.
put $20 on it for me.
All right, well, you'll have to tell me how many games you want me to do. If you want me to do like, dollar a game, no bonus, or I could do dollar a game with the bonus, 10 games, something like that. I could do 5 games, $2 a game with the bonus. We can
We'll
cut it.
figure it out. I might send more money on top of that.
You can do the send me $100 and I can do
Whatever. Yeah,
I can
I'll figure
do
out that. We'll figure out the math. I'll see
send me
what.
$100 and it's 10 games, $5 a game with the bonus.
Maybe I'll just like buy a share of your games or something.
Oh man. All right. All right. Back to the recap. All right, 40 pick, devastating 0-3. Moving
Yeah,
on.
so we're free of him for like a couple weeks now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's like week 10 that it comes back. Then he's gone for
Right.
good.
I was on the Giants plus 3.5, probably the biggest bozo pick of the week. Um, that just a complete disaster of a performance. Giants O line was overwhelmed. How many sacks did the Eagles have in that game? It felt like 100. Um, I gotta look this up. I don't know what the exact number was, but it felt like 100. Um, just awful game to watch. Eagles offense looked fine. Saquon revenge game, probably underestimated that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
he obviously lit it up. They had a deep ball to AJ Brown for a touchdown.
That was on fourth down too. That was like such a
Oh, yeah.
backbreaking pass. I mean, right
Yeah.
around, I think that was like end of the half too.
And it was a great pass too. Like AJB like ran under it. I mean, it
Yeah.
was perfect. Like could not have asked for better. Um, 8 sacks.
Yep.
That's unbelievable. Uh,
Also, like Neighbors coming back from that injury, like wasn't fully. I mean, he was playing the full game, but he had like 4 catches for like 40 yards. He
well,
was not a factor.
because Daniel Jones didn't have any time to throw the ball. That's why.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he definitely found him a couple times early, and it was like, you know, because I have neighbors in AJ Brown in multiple leagues. And so I was like, oh, okay, like this is going well. Um, but then like after the first couple drives, like Daniel Jones had no time to throw.
Yeah.
It was awful. So awful, 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 awful pick. Just I I have regrouped. I have moved on.
Mhm.
But just needed to acknowledge the terrible pick by me. Um, all right, Kieran, you were on the Dolphins plus 3 against the Colts. A significantly better pick than mine. Um, and I feel like we got screwed in the end. You want to talk about the game?
Yeah, I don't know. I felt good about it for most of the game, and then it just slowly kind of fell apart. And it just you start to realize, it starts to turn on you, and you realize that you're actually like really back against the wall earlier than you expected, and yeah, they just weren't able to pull it out. I mean, I liked my read on the game. I thought it was pretty fair. I thought, it ended up, if I bet it, it would have been like a good bet. But yeah, I just didn't get it done. I don't know. I like the pick, but didn't work out.
I mean, we went into the half up 10-3.
Yeah.
Um, and then second half offense reads 4 and out, or 3 and out punt. A fumble on the first play of the next drive.
Yep.
Mostert with a fumble.
Mhm.
Um, Another punt. And then they had a drive, 6 plays, 41 yards, and then a fumble at the Indy 13.
Mm.
Um, Another 3 and out punt. And then another drive, 6 plays, 41 yards, and then Sanders misses a 54-yard field goal.
Mhm.
Hit the left upright,
Mhm.
um, and then a turnover on downs.
Yeah.
Um, just, I mean, wild. 2 fumbles. You mix in the missed field goal. Just, and Sanders very good. I mean, 54 is like not a walk in the park. I mean, kickers this year have made 50-yarders look relatively easy, which is crazy, but to even have it hit the up left right is just like devastating.
Yeah.
And then for the Colts to get that late field goal too, it was like, all right, like, we're still, at least I think we're looking at a push. Um, and then they get that late field goal to get outside the number, and that just hurt.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, I mean, overall felt like he had a pretty decent read on it.
Yeah, that's when they're just kind of like tip your cap,
Yeah, yeah,
shake their hand at the end of the game,
yeah.
whatever.
Just move on. So, and then Bowen's pick, two in a row. So started off the season 0-5 and has come on strong. Um, had the Commanders -7.5 and did it without the services of Jaden Daniels. Obviously Daniels came out early, looked electric on that first drive, ripped off like a 49-yard run. Looked great, but obviously picked up the rib injury. Mariota comes in. It didn't matter. Commanders just absolutely steamrolled them. Easy -7.5 pick. Great read.
Yeah, I was actually at a Sunday wedding right around that time of the game, so I caught zero of the game. But when I looked at my phone, it was probably like mid to end of second quarter, and I think it was like 28-0. So seemed like an absolute bloodbath. Panthers are, my only read on the game was that the Panthers defense has given up like 34 plus points, and
Yeah.
every game besides the one game they had Andy Dalton, for his first start. So, and that was against a really bad Raiders offense. So they are who we thought they were defensively, and their offense, didn't do them any favors either. Commanders are good enough on defense to shut them down. So, yeah, Panthers suck. That was,
That was the read.
disgusting game. Yeah, disgusting game.
That was the read. And then we were on Monday Night Football, spun the wheel. There were two games this week with the Ravens and the Bucks, and then Chargers and Cardinals spun the wheel. Had the Chargers and Cardinals game for us to pick on. All three of us on the Chargers -2.5, and naturally, as one would expect, the Chargers lost outright. Uh, Cardinals win 17-15 on a game-winning field goal. Couldn't script it any better. It's pretty much probably how I expected it would go. 1-4 week. Any comments on that last game?
That was tough. I mean, Justin Herbert threw for 500 yards pretty much, and like they didn't score anything. It was just terrible. Yeah, I
Pretty.
mean, just tough. It's just a tough hit.
I also love, like, it's wild. Like, you go into this game, Cardinals are absolutely, or have been absolutely trash against the run
Mhm.
this year. Like, bottom three run defense in the league. And that has been the bread and butter of the Chargers offense this year, is running the football. I mean, part of the story of the Chargers has been like Herbert hasn't really thrown. I mean, historically, he's been, a top fantasy producer, like throws for a ton of yards, but that is not how they've been getting it done. And then lo and behold, they actually go out there and play the game. And J.K. Dobbins has probably his, lowest output of the season, 14 carries, 40 yards. To your point, Kieran, and Herbert out of nowhere, with like no receivers, throws for 350 yards. Not necessarily in a game that he needed to. It's not like, this is a game where they were like, trailing early and just constantly trying to catch up, and they just had to throw the football. Like, but for him to come out and throw 39 pass attempts, 349 yards, like, never saw that coming. But again, to the other part of your point, to have that type of offensive output and actually not score a touchdown in this game is crazy. Pretty remarkable. It was all field goals on their end, and Kyler got the job done.
They I forget the receiver, familiar name for the Chargers. Fumbled on like the
Jalen
1 yard
Reagor.
line after Jalen Rager. Yeah. once that happened, I think it was like pretty early in the game too. Once that happened, I knew something smelled like shit. Kind of just felt like one of those games that we just weren't, weren't gonna push past that 2.5, just with how things were going. Even though they were moving the ball, like you guys talked about, just when a play like that happens, start the game. It's just you have to know.
You can almost turn the TV off just knowing how the rest.
Yeah.
You know,
Also, that was definitely the lesser of two games for that Monday night. It's a
yeah,
shame that we weren't on the other game because
yeah,
other game was electric. So,
yeah.
here's what it is. The wheel decides all. So,
I know we were talking about this a couple weeks ago of like just the purpose and the rationale behind the two Monday night games. That's a night where I'm like, that lineup makes no sense to me. Like all eyes should be on that Baltimore Tampa Bay game. And I know it ended up being, a bit of a runaway for the Ravens, and obviously with Godwin and Evans going down, like not a great outcome on multiple fronts for the Bucks. But like that's an electric atmosphere. You got Lamar going up against, this fantastic Bucks team, and then you just throw this other game on like an hour later, and it's
yeah.
like, who the hell's watching that?
But
You
the thing
know?
is, that game could also be exciting too because it's Herbert and Kyler. So it's like, why would you? I just don't understand why you would try and split views for either reason.
Also,
Yeah,
that game was only on ESPN Plus, which I also don't get.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I had to watch it on meth streams.
I did too. Yeah, exactly.
Like this is
Exactly.
where and by the way, Karen, we should talk because I can give you, if you don't have an ESPN Plus, you can use my account.
Yeah, I think I stopped
Um,
paying for. Well, because I think I was paying for like this whole thing. I think I was paying for like 20 different
eight,
accounts. So
eight different
it was just ridiculous.
subscriptions.
I
Yeah,
was paying for all sorts of Hulu and ESPN Plus, and
cancel
I
them
had
all.
Hulu and
Yeah,
ESPN Plus linked and Disney
yeah.
Plus, but none of them were the same login. I couldn't get into any. It was this whole thing. I just
Oh,
had to cancel. I just canceled them all.
Jesus.
I just said fuck 'em.
Um, but this is like that's another example where like I actually would love to be a fly on the wall for some of the conversations at like the executive level to just understand the strategy. Like I really do want to understand what the rationale is behind A, the split doubleheader on Monday night, like to begin with, and then B, like putting it on ESPN Plus, just like what is it that you guys are trying to do? Like I really don't understand it. Um, but uh maybe they have a better idea, maybe they don't.
I am thinking that maybe there needs to be some sort of thing because all three of us were on the Chargers, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there needs to be some sort of like Costanza rule where if all three of us are on it, we flip it. But it
Okay.
needs to be like a Scouts honor thing because there could also be a strategic thing of, well, I'm going to take the other side. That way, like the pick that I really want doesn't get instantly vetoed as like a clean
Yeah.
sweep. Uh, so
Okay.
we need to figure out some sort of way to implement that. So,
Okay.
like, yeah, I mean, maybe we all like it's like a blind submission of who we pick for the games for the primetime games,
Yeah.
and then we see. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that could be interesting if like all three of us are on one thing, then maybe we
Yeah.
could flip it.
Okay. I mean, I think we just go Scouts honor on it. And
And I like I just like the Costanza Rule name. Do the opposite of what I would do.
I do like it too. Yeah. I love it. Just the ability to use it, you
Yeah,
know?
so maybe in the second half of the season we can start implementing that. We'll just have to figure out
I
exactly
mean,
how
why
to do
don't do we just start today where it's like if we've got two primetime games.
it. Yeah.
So if for either of these starting today, all three of us are on the same side, we automatically enact the Costanza rule.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, it has to be Scouts honor. Like just be honest.
Yes.
Because remember, like, it does, I mean, the primetime record, it's the tiebreaker for the last place thing. So it's like
Yeah.
it's semi-important, but it's not like crazy important. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's not that serious. Pick what you're picking.
Yeah.
And you want to try and have your best record. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think Scouts honor and just for the sake of it, because it's like, I mean, shit, I mean, I don't know. I feel like part of the reason that we do the each submit our own thing and spinning the wheel and everything is to try and avoid that consensus stuff, because I feel like
Yeah.
that's why we started this new format in the beginning of it anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right. I like it. All right. All right. So just to quickly recap where we stand as a team and individually for the season, 12 and 23, not good. I do start to wonder if we are in contention for the booby prize. Um,
It's
which
damn
again,
bad.
which again is a legitimate thing. I'm not being an asshole and I'm not making that up. The booby prize is a legitimate prize as a part of the Circa contest in which the worst team that submits every pick, all 5 picks for all 18 weeks of the season, the team with the worst record that qualifies does win, I think, 25 grand.
We're 12 and 23.
12 and 23. I'm
So
gonna go.
if we did a second entry with the inverse of our picks, we'd be at 65%, 66%, really rounded up.
That's right.
I'm
It's
starting
tough.
to see the value in this.
But again, this is, we've talked about this.
Yeah.
Like
But
the
that might need to be like a start putting some pennies in the piggy bank. And maybe I don't know, maybe it is something that we explore if we did do 2 entries.
yeah, I mean,
But
again,
then the season we start doing it is the season that we go 500.
that's the whole thing, right? I mean, that is the risk is
Yeah.
if if you're just a 500 team, you get 500
Yeah.
which is a disaster. So
I think it's really just humbling that like our genuine
our
entry
genuine
is
picks.
doing this bad.
It's it's sad.
The
But I mean, I do feel like we're three guys. Like we are guys that thrive as the scrappy underdog, and I feel like this is like the early rounds. We're getting our ass kicked, and where there are so many weeks left in the season, and it's like we just got to string a couple good rounds together. It doesn't have to be 5-0. It can be 4-1, four and
Yeah.
one, 4-1, 4-1. That's 3 weeks in a row. All of a sudden, we're right back in it. And where does this line up? Is this the start of the new quarter too? Week 8?
I think it's the end of
Or is it the end?
Yeah, this is
This
the
would be
end.
the end.
Yeah.
So, let's I'm sure we're out of that one, but let's end it strong and then let's just start at 4-1, 4-1. And we can turn it around. If we can do this bad, we can also do that good for a couple of weeks too.
Yeah.
the leader in the clubhouse for the Circa Million as of this week, 3 days ago, is 27-8. T12, there's 9 entries tied at 25 and 10. So we would be like right on that cusp of like making the graphic if we faded ourselves. Just to put it into perspective, we are the booby trap teams are really bad. 5 and 29, 6 and 28, 6 and 28, 7 and 28, 6, 28 and 1. Sorry, two of them, and then one at 7 and 28. So there's a bit of room between us and the booby traps, but
We're just like in purgatory.
yeah,
It's an
like a
18
really
round
shitty
fight.
purgatory.
That's all it is. It's an 18-round fight. We're eating punches early. But we get stronger as it goes on.
This reminds me it reminds me of years ago. I was watching a Pacquiao fight against some guy. He was like from Long Island. And he had no business being in the ring with Pacquiao. But every time he went back to the corner, you would hear his trainer say to him, "We're not letting the lion out of the cage yet. We're not letting the lion out of the cage yet. You wait until my signal." And this was like round after round after round. And like come like the seventh round, he says to him again, "We're almost there, but we're not letting the lion out of the cage yet." And then he goes out there and Pacquiao hits this guy with a swarm, knocks him down, ref calls the fight. And it's like, can you imagine? You work your entire life to get an opportunity to step into the ring against Manny Pacquiao and
You don't let the lion out of the cage.
never let the lion out of the cage.
But now he can always say that. Like, hey,
Yeah,
you're the guy that got knocked out by Pecco. Well, yeah, but I never let the lion out of the cage.
exactly. And like, we have to let the lion out of the
He
cage.
can always hold that over Pacquiao. You never fought the lion. So
Yeah. So I think this week we have to let the lion out of the cage. There's no more waiting. There's no more waiting.
Baby, give me a roar. Give me a roar. Give me a lion's roar.
Is that what we're gonna do?
I actually don't have that in my bag. I could probably edit one in. I actually don't think I have. I physically have a lion roar in my bag. I don't.
Can you imagine?
I actually don't know.
This is like those videos you see of the guys who go to those like be a man camps where they like
Yeah.
make them scream at the top of their lungs to like release their inner man.
Ironically, I think I have too much pride to rip a lion roar on this
Right.
call right now. Yeah, I think.
Nice play on words. I like it.
Oh God. Oh
Can
God.
you imagine? I would need Abby to film Bowen on the podcast, sitting in the NICU, roaring at the top of his lungs.
Yeah, I think I might actually have a roar, but I don't think I can let it legally go in this NICU area.
The nurses come sprinting in. Imagine,
I actually moved
imagine,
over to the
imagine trying to explain yourself.
oh I really couldn't. I'm in the family room now, or like the
Oh,
family
even
dining
better.
area. She was
Even
getting
better.
some things done to her at 11, so I got pushed out,
All
squeezed
right.
out by my own kin. Um,
Get
so
used to it, buddy.
yeah, so
Get used to it.
I'm out in the wild at the
Yeah.
moment. So yeah,
That 60-inch TV you buy to watch football games on Sunday. Nope.
it's over.
That's
Yeah, it's
Disney.
over.
That's Disney, and you're watching games on your phone.
That's all right. I actually quite enjoy watching football, like any games on my phone. It's nice.
Yeah.
I love
Little,
my iPad.
it
Yeah.
Love watching on my
feels
iPad.
more intimate,
You
right?
can get the multi-view on the iPad now. It's unbelievable.
Um, all right. Should we let's let the line out of the cage. Let's get into the week 8 picks. Should we go to the wheel?
Please.
All right.
All right. I'm gonna lead it off with the Chargers. -7.5 at home
Wow.
against the Saints. It's a big favorite. That's kind of odd for me to take. It's not something I usually go for. I usually like the underdogs, that type of thing. But I did like what I saw out of the Chargers, and I do feel like I feel like Harbaugh takes it personal and he feels bad that Justin Herbert did all that and they didn't score touchdowns for him. And Spencer Rattler is going to get the start for one more week. This is a banged up Saints team. I just think this is Saints team. It's not very good. And I think that this is a chance for the Chargers at home to make a statement and kind of make it up to their quarterback and put some touchdowns on the board. I know we talked about my touchdown parlay before the show, and J.K. Dobbins is a guy that I have scoring 2 touchdowns on Sunday in this game. But I just think it's a good matchup for them. I think that I think that he's going to be able to score. I think that Herbert can continue to build off of what he was doing through the air last week. And I just don't think Spencer Rattler is very good. And I think that this is a game where it's his last start. Carr is going to come back next week. He's just not very good. And I think that Harbaugh, he's a veteran coach. He's going to be able to take advantage of that and kind of just put the pressure on him. And he's not going to be able to do too much. So I think this is a chance for the Chargers to come out, make a statement, show us what they have. And I think that this is a game, this is kind of a maybe a trope that I lean into a bunch, but like this is an opportunity for the Chargers to show us what they are. Are they going to be a team that's fighting for these wild card spots or not? And if they are, then they're going to go out there and they're going to win this by more than a touchdown. So I'm taking them at -7.5.
I like the game. I like the spot. For the for the Chargers, coming off that disappointing loss. I like everything you said, Kieran, and the Saints stink. I've long been a Dennis Allen hater. Think he's a bottom tier coach. Think these the last month he probably lost some guys in the locker room or lost that explosive team that he had the first 2 weeks. Alvin Kamara had been playing with a broken hand. I think just the whole team in general is just really banged up. That defense is not what it was first couple weeks. That offensive line is not what it was the first couple weeks. And the Chargers, even though they lost against the Cardinals, are trending in the right direction, I think, just as a whole. So big number, but I kind of like to see you dip your toe on this side of the coin, KB. It feels good. You're usually always on the dog, so it's when you pick one of these games, you're onto something. So uh, like it a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bigger.
yeah, Dennis Allen, bad coach, bad rookie quarterback, in my opinion. Versus in my opinion, good coach, good quarterback. I do think that they are building something with that offense. So I think that it's just two teams going in opposite directions. And yeah, like I said, this is an opportunity for the Chargers to show us what they are. I feel that if they're unable to cover in this spot, then that's a team that maybe I'm not too sure on moving forward.
Hmm. Yeah, I like it for all the points that were said. I like the pick. The big number scares me a little bit, but again, I like to what Bowen just said. I like the fact that Kieran, you're running straight into a big number because you typically stay away from those. So I think that speaks to the read and the confidence in the pick. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like the number, it depends, right? Like, I mean, I've like faded the Texans in spots at this point, this year because I felt like they didn't earn the big spreads, and I can definitely see that for the Chargers too. Like, they haven't been the greatest team, and last week was certainly a disappointment. But at the same time, when it comes to like the actual just the number of it all, right? It's like any spread can kind of
Well, I
win or
think
lose because that's something that we've talked about in the past too, where it's like you can get backdoor covered at any number.
yeah, yeah. Well, and I think too, like it's a matter of sometimes it's not so much about how good a team is. Sometimes it's a good team against just a really, really bad team, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's all you need. There's actually another game on the board where I feel like there's a similar situation. Um, but yeah, sometimes you don't have to be a great team to earn a spread like that.
Yeah.
So, um, all right, should we go back to the board?
Ooh. Making them white.
Making them wait. I'm actually really curious, Bowen, to see what your pick is. I'm intentionally not picking a certain game because I'm leaving it open for you.
Whoa.
Uh,
Whoa.
but
Wow. I think I know
uh,
what that is.
I I'm gonna go with the Bills -3 over the Seahawks. Josh Allen 4-1 against the spread going west. Uh, Geno's 3-8 against the spread at home in Seattle over the last couple of seasons. He's also 10-15-4 against the spread coming off of a straight up win. Um, Obviously Seattle, looked good last week. They turned over Kirk Cousins a few times. Had a pretty impressive win against, an Atlanta team that I think was streaking and playing very well. But they're likely to be without Metcalf this week. He's doubtful. I think like 95% of people with a doubtful that are listed as doubtful, don't end up playing. They're also a bottom 5D against the run, and I think that's where Buffalo can really pound the rock and really flex with James Cook, with Josh Allen, with who's the backup that they got?
Ray Davis,
Ray Davis.
Davis.
Kentucky.
And Ty Johnson also gets involved too. He scored a
Yep.
touchdown last week, I believe, but he gets involved at times.
Yeah, yeah. And then, can't overlook the addition of Amari Cooper to that offense. I think that, we saw that last week. They got him going early, got him involved, especially in the red zone. Had a touchdown catch. I think, obviously adding something really good there. He's a really good receiver, who, I think at times last year, he popped in some games, and obviously there just some bad things going on in Cleveland, which sometimes you just have a guy who's still got it and is a really good player who just can't get anything going because the offense just stinks. And now I think he's in an offense obviously with a quarterback who can sling it, can make things happen. Josh Allen continues to be very efficient as well. I think he's 10, 12 touchdown passes, no interceptions. He's playing really, really well. And I like the way they're trending, coming off a big win against Tennessee. Went in there, took care of business. So I like them to cover this number. I feel good about it.
That was actually my second pick on my board.
No.
Hell yeah.
It's kind of just another spot that I was saying, like the Chargers. This is where the Bills can kind of show us what are you? Are you going to be the division winner? You're going to be competing for that first round bye, that one seed, or are you going to be kind of a middle of the pack, border, fighting for that wild card spot? And they might kind of win this division by default just with how the AFC East is going right now, but it's like, what are you guys? And I think that they tried the everybody eats, we don't need a star receiver thing for a couple weeks. And yeah, they were winning some games, but they realized like this is not going to work. We do need somebody like Stephon Diggs. And yeah, maybe he wasn't the personality that they needed. And, things kind of got sour by the end. But, they were also winning games when they played with that style of football. So they went out, they got Amari Cooper, and, look right away, they were feeding him. They made sure they got him a touchdown. And, I think that's going to continue. I think that, when Diggs played with them, he scored double-digit touchdowns, multiple times. So, yeah, I think they're going to bring him back. They're gonna throw to Cooper a ton. And yeah, I just think that, missing DK is going to be pretty big. I think that Lockett's going to be the receiver that kind of steps up and is the leader there. I think that JSN, he is good, but I just don't think that he's really getting it done right now this year. He's still, he's getting more targets, but still short yardage. He's not getting like a ton of yak or anything like that. So I think that they are going to miss DK. So yeah, I think that this is the Bills. They need to come in, establish themselves as a top team, in the AFC. And, they get to do that by winning by more than a field goal.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys are saying. Sneaky last week, I think the biggest winner of the Amari Cooper trade was actually Keon Coleman and all the other Bills wide receivers. They are really, really physical on the outside with Coleman being a big body who can do a lot. And now Amari, having those two guys on either side, I think, Keon not being able to draw maybe the cornerback, the best cornerback on the team in drawing, the second or third guy on the outside like that will do a lot for a rookie, obviously. Also for Khalil Shakir in the middle there. He's not going to be, as blanketed as he may have been throughout games earlier in the season. Think the Seahawks are more pretender than contender, just in a general sense. Love Geno, champion with the Zits, dynasty, friends who gamble. I owe him my life, but in a real life sense, I don't know, if he can really keep this game too close. The Bills' defense is susceptible to the run game, which is a little scary with Ken Walker because I think Ken Walker's top five running back in the league. But I don't know if the game real flow and everything is going to work out for the Seahawks to be able to run the ball. If the Bills can put some points on the board early, and kind of the Seahawks seem to be a team that just when they get into like that panic mode, they just pass the ball like 50 times a game. So I think that's probably more likely the outcome. So I don't know if the run game will be that much of a factor, or that Bills defense that can get run on. So I like to pick it's 3, right? Flat
Yeah.
3.
Yep.
I like that number 2. I think they should be able to get above that number pretty easily. So yeah, good pick.
Yeah, and I just like so far we have two teams that I think at this point in the season need to kind of, flex their muscles and show, what they're going to be doing for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Back to the wheel. Big moment coming up.
I want to know before I pick, I want to know what game you have in mind.
How about
I
I tell
think I
you
know what it
after?
is.
How about I tell you after?
That's fair. That's fair.
Because I want to see if you pick the game. I don't want
I
to.
think I know what game you're thinking about, but I don't. Hey, Daddy, let's go. All right. Um, so I'm going with the Chiefs. Another big number, 8.5. Playing in Vegas against the Raiders. Wait, Tristan, what was the game?
He
Give us
can't
your, give us your
wait.
rationale first.
No,
Finish,
was it the
finish
Broncos?
the pick. Finish the pick.
So the Raiders have fallen behind double digits in each game this season so far. Fourth team in the last 30 years to do that. So they find themselves, in these lopsided games frequently. Kansas City can do everything on offense. I think. I know Pat Mahomes. I think his ratio of touchdown and interceptions right now is 6-8. So he's not lighting up by any means, lighting up the field. But they did just bring in DeAndre Hopkins, who I think is going to be playing on Sunday. Andy Reid's hinting at he's going to be pretty much full go, saying that no reason to really wait with him. He's a pro's pro. He's in shape. He's ready to go, and I think he makes an instant impact, kind of in that Rashee Rice. Uh, find the soft spot in the defense kind of role, where he can just be the chain mover for him, and someone that they desperately need. I think in that offense, they've been able to run the ball really well. The Raiders are susceptible to the run game throughout the year. Kareem Hunt is back to his old ways with them. Pat Mahomes is a problem outside the pocket, running down the sidelines on his tippy toes for like 35 yards. And
Dirty
I just
stuff.
I also saw Warren Sharp tweet out. Um, actually, I'll start with this first. Antonio Pierce in the offseason was on a podcast and was yapping away with Max Crosby about how they're going to treat Pat Mahomes like how the Pistons treated MJ back in the day with the Bad Boy Pistons. How they're going to rough him up, and it's going to be a different way we're going to treat these elite quarterbacks, and how we're going to do it with the Raiders, yada yada yada. I think that's going to be a freezing cold take retweet that we see on all of our timelines. I, I think the Chiefs have reason, bulletin board reason to run it up on a team like the Raiders. The the head ref, Adrian Hill, is the highest roughing the passer and neutral zone infraction caller in the league, by a pretty wide margin. So I think the NFL did that on purpose. I think they're trying to protect their baby boy. I could see a world where there's, a handful, or, two, three, four of those type of calls in this type of game. That could get chippy pretty early if the Chiefs are able to put a couple points on the board, a couple touchdowns on the board. So I see like a 17-point game here. I think the Chiefs kind of come into their own a bit with their new addition to the offense, and their run game just has been really good all year. So uh, Gardner Minshew is going to be the quarterback. Aiden O'Connell, who replaced him a couple games ago, is out with a thumb injury. So they've already benched this guy. They've already told Gardner what they think of him, and Antonio Pierce is just a hot mess. Think the Chiefs run it up.
I like the pick. I wasn't on my card, but when I was going over the slate, um, this was a lean for me. You know, again, I think just the state that the Raiders are in, this feels like a good spot for the Chiefs to, just come in and, you know, kind of assert their dominance against a divisional opponent. Um, and yeah, like the pick. Kieran, any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I like it as well. I just don't think that the Raiders really have the horses for it. The Chiefs, they've been really good against the run. That Raiders running back room is, I think, brutal. I mean, sometimes they can break out like a decent game, but it's no good to me. So they're not going to be able to get anything going on the ground. I just don't think that they're going to be able to get too much going with the pass. I think Jacoby Myers is questionable, or maybe even doubtful. I do think that Brock Bowers, he might be able to have a big game. But I just don't think that's going to be enough, and I don't think that Gardner Minshew is going to be enough. When you look at how the Vegas defense is, like Zach was saying, I think that Kareem Hunt can have a big game. I do think that if they bring in, DeAndre Hopkins, they're gonna, try and put him in against some zone coverages, have him just like sit down and maybe try and feed him that way. And yeah, I think that this could reinvigorate the pass game a little bit. Yeah, I just don't think that Raiders have what it takes to keep up.
Yeah, I think this number could have been upwards of like 12 and a half, and I wouldn't have been scared to take it. 8.5 doesn't really frighten me at all. I think it's easily a double digit game. So yeah, I just and I the whole podcast clip of Antonio Pierce talking about how they're gonna rough Mahomes up. You just know that's gonna age
Yeah, and
poorly.
there was the whole thing
It
from
always,
the
it
mini
always
camps
does.
with the Kermit the Frog and the wig.
Yeah, if we know anything about the Raiders and Pat Mahomes, you
And
just
just
don't do that kind of stuff.
karma in general.
Yeah, right. You just can't be saying that shit in the offseason. And
Yeah, like
I
if this
actually
was
forgot to
last
Kermit
year when
Frog.
Antonio Pierce took over and they were playing hard, I'd maybe be looking at it and saying, I could see the Raiders covering, but yeah, I just feel like this is a bad spot for them.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Very good. Uh, Bowen, the game I was leaving open for you.
Wait,
In
can I guess what you were gonna
yeah,
guess?
yeah.
This is like in The Big Short when they were explaining like side bets and stuff. I'm guessing what you were gonna guess.
Yes.
He
That
was
Bowen.
gonna take.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Uh, and I think it's obviously Lions minus
It
11 and a
was.
half.
It was.
Yeah.
Especially because we were just talking about like we got to let the lion out of the cage. So
That's a good one.
no pick more appropriate than to go with Man Campbell and the Lions minus 11 and a half against Mason Rudolph and the Titans.
Yeah, they were. I'm not gonna lie. I was tempted.
They were on
I
the
just
card, weren't they?
I wanted to dig a little bit deeper. That was my first game that just my eyes lock on that, obviously. But I just have to find a different
If
game because
if I could be inside of your eyes when you open up the slate for the first time every week,
yeah,
I guarantee that your eyes move until you find that Lions game. Like
I'm a
you,
man. I'm a man Campbell guy.
yeah, you're just naturally drawn to the Lions. And
Yep, it really is,
I
man.
will say something I'm interested in putting a wager on is I'm looking to pick a Super Bowl team.
yeah,
And I think
you're in the
naturally
market.
you want to pick one from each conference, right? I just I do, and it's probably a little chalky at this point, but I do feel very strongly about the Ravens and the Lions.
Lions. Yeah.
And I do think maybe we'll see, get a little bit more of a picture of long term how the Lions are going to look this season without Hutchinson
Yeah.
there. Maybe they make a move. Maybe they go after like Max Crosby. Who knows? That's what a lot of people like to speculate now that the Raiders have started trading Devontae
I've heard
Adams and
Miles
everything like
Garrett
that. But
too. I've heard Miles Garrett.
I do think it's interesting. And I think that those are also just two teams that would be just kind of fun to ride it out with because you get to feel good about them at least winning one, or two playoff games depending on how many they're going to play. But
Yeah.
at least being in that conference championship, it would be nice to just ride it with those teams.
Both
Uh,
teams are just fucking ass kickers too. They just beat the shit out of you.
if you parlay them as conference winners, you get 13-1.
Wow.
It's not too bad.
I wouldn't, Kieran, you said it might be chalk or chalky, which, might be, but like if the Chiefs aren't mentioned, I don't think it's chalk. I think the Chiefs are
That is very
at
true.
least for the AFC side, I think the Ravens that's a good pick.
I just feel like people are still kind of sleeping on like they're kind of writing off Lamar Jackson now as like, yeah, he's gonna do it in the regular season, but he's not gonna
Yeah.
do the playoffs. And I feel like people are almost sleeping on the fact that it's like, no, like they added Derrick Henry to this run game, and it's been so dominant. And Lamar continues to become a better passer, and that pass game opens up, and they have multiple weapons that can go off. Like Rashad Bateman, like a lot of people are very fantasy focused when they look at players and everything. But yeah, Rashad Bateman is not going to be a guy that you're maybe comfortably starting week to week. But like he's a guy that like he can rip off a huge bomb of a play. He can score touchdowns for you. He can put up 50, 60 yards for you with 3 or 4 catches every week. But Zay Flowers is eating on his targets. Mark Andrews is starting to come back. Like they have a really good pass game right now. And I do think that the Ravens are in a really good spot where, I think people are maybe not taking them seriously when it comes to actual playoff odds.
Also, Lamar and Derrick Henry like are better than I think anybody thought they could be. And I
Yeah.
thought everybody, I mean, I think everybody probably thought they'd be really, really elite
Yeah, I mean,
together. But like,
I was somebody going into the season. I just thought it was almost too good to be true. Like, is he really going to step into this run game that's already so efficient, and he's,
right.
one of the most efficient running backs ever? And is it like that really just happened like that? Like it did feel too good to be true, but I mean, so far it's working, and I feel like they kind of know how to manage him now. Like last week, he maybe wasn't getting as many touches as people expected, but he still got his, and I think he still ended up scoring, didn't he?
Hmm. Oh
But
yeah,
yeah, I mean,
he caught a pass.
yeah, so it's like, like I think that they know what they're doing, and I think that
Yeah.
that's a team that's kind of slept on, like I said, because people just aren't taking them seriously when it comes to playoff success. And then when it comes to the Lions too, I just feel like they really are a team that has something to prove. They have a chip on their shoulder, and like I said, it is going to be interesting to see how things play out in the wake of Aiden Hutchinson's injury, but. Um, I don't know. I mean, they just feel like a team that's built to overcome that type of stuff. Like,
Both
they
these
almost
teams
they almost
were
like welcome that type of adversity.
both these teams were a game away from the Super Bowl last year too, which I think you
Point.
know they both have that motivation to get back to that championship game, and to right their wrongs. I think the Ravens kind of got bullied out of the spot last year, against the Chiefs, if I'm remembering correctly, and the Lions were in a good game with the Niners. So um, I wouldn't be surprised if it's literally those four teams again, when it's all said and done. And I like the teams coming back off the loss to pull through there. So
All right.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what? Like I think I said, I can't forget to bring this up, but I do want to talk about, and obviously I teased it and gave it away in the group chat, but the coach of the year bet, I do really like Matt LaFleur. I think he's at like 13 to 1 or something like that. I don't know what his odds have been, in the past few days, but I feel like he's in a really good position where, I mean, the Packers, they have a good record. They can go on a good run here. And they can still compete for this division, lead and everything like that. But I mean, the fact that Jordan Love, they lost their first game. Jordan Love went down with the injury. He won those games with Malik Willis. And then if Jordan Love can come back and take them on a run and they can win double-digit games, I just feel like he's a really good candidate. I think they got a good team up in Green Bay.
oh yeah, that team rolls. They're
They,
sick.
they got a really good defense, a ton of playmakers. Uh,
Hmm.
and they got a quarterback who can sling it. So, and LaFleur's a good coach for sure. Um, so I
It's
think
just
they're,
it's never guys like, I mean, like Belichick and Andy Reid never win it.
yeah,
And, I feel like when, a team like the Lions, like they were a favorite going into the season, like it's never guys like that either.
yeah,
It's always the guys that kind of, boost it up. And, especially if the Packers could go on a run and maybe take this division from the Lions, I think that would definitely catapult them up the board. But I like him. And then, I mean, Jordan Love, I do think is, just at his value. I think it's kind of like around the same odds as LaFleur's coach of the year odds, but I do kind of like him as an MVP candidate. I mean, if he does end up leading the lead in
yep,
passing touchdowns and doing all that, like, I mean, of course, when they had Malik Willis, they won those two games. So, that might be an argument or like a knock against him. But I mean, like those offenses were totally different. Like, the receivers are not getting the yards or the touchdowns that they're getting when he's playing and everything. They just ran a totally different game. And I think that that's a really good argument for LaFleur for coach of the year. But yeah, I think if Jordan Love just comes back, he's clearly just like a lightning rod, in that offense where he just gets everybody going.
yep. I like it.
Yeah, those are guys 10 to 1 or longer. Those are two guys I really like. But all right, I guess the wheel for Sunday night.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Come to me. Come to me.
wow, wow.
Yeah, that was a little dirty. Um, all right, so Sunday night game, we've got 49ers at home against the Cowboys. 49ers 4.5 point favorites. Um, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys +4. I think it was a much needed bye week for them. Obviously got trounced by Detroit at home. I also think with the bye, I know there's been a lot of talk. I think it's won like five weeks in a row. Um, Teams that, in the week following, uh, the week after playing Detroit, there's like this Dan Campbell hangover. And if you fade them against the spread, they've covered like 5 consecutive weeks. But I think with the bye, I think that's a hack to work around the Dan Campbell hangover. I also think 49ers are like, they're not in a good place. They're coming off the loss to the Chiefs. Ayuk's out. He's done for the year with the knee. Debo had pneumonia. And I feel like he's had a number of injuries already this year. Um, and even though he's listed as questionable and could play, like they said, they are taking it slow with him. I think something like pneumonia, you kind of don't know how he's going to be able to like sustain through the game, even if he does go. Jawan Jennings out. So in terms of playmakers, like, they're still very depleted. And overall, I just feel like the Cowboys have a chance to really come in refreshed. Like they went into the bye, like brutal loss against Detroit, but they're 3-3. They can kind of like start fresh. They're healthier, ready to go. While the 49ers, they just continue to be hobbled. Can't be feeling too confident after last week's game against the Chiefs. You pile some injuries on. I'm not counting the 49ers out. I mean, I still think like if McCaffrey comes back and he's able to be, a healthy version of himself or, healthy-ish, eventually Debo, unless any other injuries come up, like he's gonna get better. Like, Jawan Jennings will come back. Like they're gonna be tough, but I do think things are gonna get a little bit worse for the 49ers before they actually start to get better. So I'm going Cowboys +4.
All right, back to the wheel. I'm on the Cowboys as well.
Oh boy. Oh, Bowen. Oh, oh, I cannot wait.
Keep a poker face. Keep a poker.
Oh my God.
Um, no, I mean, I just when they played, what was it, 2020 or yeah,
Yeah.
2023, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, the Niners killed them, and George Kittle had 3 touchdowns. It was like an embarrassment. I actually think that we were on the Cowboys in that
You're
game.
on the cover. Yep.
Maybe I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But it feels like a cheap revenge spot for them because of how down the Niners are. It's just tough. I mean, it is all these injuries. I think Ricky Pearsall is like their healthiest receiver.
Yep.
It's going to be tough. I think they're going to have to lean on Jordan Mason. They're going to have to lean on George Kittle, and I think they do have decent matchups for that. So we'll see. And maybe it's just one of those things where Shanahan just knows what to do and how to kill them and pick them apart. And maybe it is kind of a comeback spot for the Niners after their last game. Then everything like that. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it just feels like a cheap revenge spot where they can be like, "See, we got him back too." All right, back to the wheel.
Yep.
Hmm. Bowen.
I've had the Cowboys circled all week. Um,
Oh my
I
God. We're gonna do the Costanza thing, and the Cowboys are gonna fucking run them
yeah.
out of their own stadium.
So yeah, I think I do think to go off of what you guys were saying, the Niners are banged up. Um, definitely down right now. I do think that by week like 15, 16, 17, they'll be back and they'll be I mean, the division's wide open still. They're only one game behind Seattle in the NFC West. And kind of the Rams and Cardinals on the same boat at 3-4 right now. Really interesting division. So I don't really think they're out of it yet. With their players and shit, when they're healthy, they'll always be a top team. So I do think they will turn it around, but I don't think it's this week. I think the Cowboys off a bye. Um, I mean, their backs are against the wall. I mean, just to stay within the division race, with the Eagles, they're 4-2 right now. The Eagles, they've already had their bye, as well. So they really need to start winning some games. Micah Parsons is still out, but for whatever reason, I've been drawn to the Cowboys all week. I think they win outright in a primetime game like that. Niners are down right now, and I think they steal one.
All right, we're going. So we are, just for the record, three of us on the Cowboys +4. So we will be enacting the
Or on the
Costanza.
Niners minus 4. But I mean, let me say too, I mean, and I was kind of, as I was talking through my own Cowboys explanation, I was kind of thinking about points too against it too, where it's like, it does feel easy. It
It
does
does.
feel like an easy spot for the Cowboys here. They're road dogs. The Niners, despite everything that we're saying against them, they are favorites. They're at home.
Yep.
And the last time that these two teams played, they fucking blew them out.
Yep.
And the guy that tortured them is still playing, George Kittle. And I mean, he is banged up too, but yeah, I think he is going to be playing. And yeah, I don't know. It's just it feels like, despite everything, why are they still 4-point favorites? And I think that those are the spots that you need to buy into. So it's like the fact that we're all on a road dog in a primetime spot, with all those things, it's just maybe it is actually a good thing that we're doing that.
It
And
feels fantastic that we're fading ourselves here. Like it really does feel it feels great.
I mean, look at it this way. Everything I just said about why it's probably a good thing that we're doing it, like typically that would be what I would say to start next week's episode when we're talking about why we lost in this
Mhm.
spot.
yeah.
And so maybe it is a good thing. Oh, the disagreement on that type of thing. So
Well, and I mean, you go back and you look at the game last week against the Chiefs, like it's a 14-12 game going into the fourth quarter. Um, Dak Prescott is not Patrick Mahomes. Um, you even think about too, like as much as we were kind of, commenting on like, just kind of how dirty that run was by Mahomes on the sideline, like, that's a bit of a like pivotal moment in a game, where like um Dak's not doing that,
oh, and look at it this way too, right? Zach was saying how the Cowboys, they're dropping in the divisional race. They're 3-3. They need to catch
Yeah.
up. So do the Niners. I mean, they're in last place. They're 3-4. I mean, they're only one game behind, but they're 3-4 right now. Like they need to. This is a game that's coming at an unfortunate time, I think, for both teams, where it's like
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Like both of us need to win this game. Like we cannot keep dropping. But
Yeah.
I mean, the Niners are a team that a lot of people had almost penciled into the AFC or the NFC Championship, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden they're last place in their division halfway through the season. It's pretty crazy. And I
Yeah.
think it is pretty doom and gloom for them. And the fact that they're still favorites, it's like, you know what? Maybe we should actually be taking that line pretty seriously.
Yeah. Yep. All right. 49ers.
All right. Monday Night Football?
Let's do it.
Mhm. That's Steelers and Giants.
Yes. Steelers are at home
Six.
-6.
Six.
All right.
Bowen.
Uh, yeah. So I think the Giants keep this one tight. I think they actually win the game somehow. Don't like Russell Wilson as a 6-point favorite. Don't think that's a winning recipe. I know he looked pretty good last week. That defense is good, and the Giants looked pitiful last week. But I just think I like the Giants to keep it real close in this one. Malik Neighbors back from injury for a second week now. I think he's a little bit more ready to go, in better shape, and I think he has a big game. He has Joey Porter Jr. in hell, and the Giants are able to move the ball enough and put up enough field goals and maybe a touchdown or two, to keep it within the number and have a chance of winning the game.
All right.
How's she doing?
Oh boy.
Where's
Oh
that?
boy.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh.
Betty.
Oh.
I'm on the Steelers here. Um, point one, I simply cannot bet on Daniel Jones in prime time. I cannot do it. I don't
Man
care
of,
how big the
man
number.
of
I don't care if
principle.
it's a 100-point spread. I cannot take it. I just do not trust. I don't have his record in front of me. I don't know. Maybe he's been better
It's
in
bad. No, it's bad.
recent performances. I can't bet on him in prime time. And I think that these receivers might like playing for Russell Wilson more. I think that he knows how to throw a ball with some touch. I think the moon ball, I think that they actually I think that they simply have more fun playing for him and catching his throws. So I think that he actually does provide a spark for them. I do think that last week's game is something that they can build off of. I think that there is a good connection there with George Pickens. Um, I don't know if Malik Neighbors is going to have a big game. I mean, they've done a pretty good job against wide receiver ones this year. And it's, all the guys that you would expect, talking about Garrett Wilson, CeeDee Lamb, Drake London. I mean, those are guys that they've all kept at like 60 yards. Drake London only had 15 yards against week one. That was kind of a weird game overall. Michael Pittman did have a big game. That was, I think, when Flacco and were kind of in and out and doing everything. But it's usually the slot receivers that are kind of picking the Steelers apart, and I don't really know uh who the Giants. I guess it could be Wandale. I guess but I just don't think that Wandale's really going to be the guy that does that. I think he gets like negative yak. I just don't think that's a good matchup for them. So I think that the Steelers they can build off of something. They're at home. Yeah, I'm not buying Daniel Jones in prime time on the road.
It's very fair.
Huh?
It's very fair.
All right.
Talk about it. Yeah.
All right. I'm also on the Steelers, -6. Giants had serious issues stopping the pass rush against Philly. This is not going to get any better. Andrew Thomas out, already a bad O-line. They're starting right tackle dealing with a hip injury. He didn't practice all week. Questionable as to whether or not he's going to play. TJ Watt. Liked everything you said too, Karen, about Russ. Like obviously early, like I think there were, he was knocking off some cobwebs, but as that game went on, and then after the game, like definitely felt just a different energy about that team from an offensive perspective, and I think he has given them a boost. Um, as corny as he is and has been, and maybe, over the last couple of years, like, his game has evolved. Like he's not as mobile as he once was, in Seattle. He's older. The guy can still ball out. Like he can still throw a deep ball. He can still move the ball down the field. Like he wasn't that bad in Denver last year. And I just think like again, this is a situation where like, this is a good football team that I think has gotten a spark. It's a good defense that's going up against an offense that I think is going to have a lot of trouble holding them back. Um, and I just think I think we're going to see a very similar kind of blueprint and game play out as we did with Philly and New York last week. Just feels like it's going to be kind of the same type of looking game. So I'm going Steelers with the points.
Yeah,
Can't blame you guys.
I think the Giants. I think the Giants might just be kind of bad. I feel like Dayball might be in the last year of being a head coach for now.
Yeah.
I feel like they're gonna look to move on from Daniel Jones. Like, I mean, it's like how much more does he need to show? It's like, I mean, I understand that he's not playing with, a Pro Bowl cast around him, but it's like, he has Malik Neighbors now. And he got benched for Drew Lock. He's not very good. I think that at this point they have to feel that way. He's not the guy, so they got to go out and they got to try and find somebody else. So, um, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I just really like what Russell Wilson brings. I think I understand the argument for the people that wanted Justin Fields. They felt like he deserved to stay in that starting role, but it is kind of the thing, right? Russell was brought in to be the starter. A lot of people believe you shouldn't lose it just because you got injured. You should get your fair shake and everything. And maybe just because it was a primetime game and, it's the first game back, sometimes there is almost like that beginner's luck to it, but he brought a spark where it's like, oh yeah, like he can do that. And, those are things that Justin Fields can't necessarily do. He can't throw. And it's something we're seeing with guys like Anthony Richardson too, right? Like, yes, he can throw the fastball. He can throw it impressive when you're watching him work out and, doing everything like that. But it's like when he needs to throw a touch pass and just get it just over the helmet of a defender or, get it around somebody, like he can't do things like that. Or Russell Wilson, maybe he can. And, he's able to take a little bit off it so his receiver can come back and, go up and jump over somebody. And, yeah, I think that he just brings a spark where, like I said, I think it just kind of the receivers are able to have a little bit of more fun playing football with him.
All right. We got the picks. Steelers. So just to recap,
Nice chalky card.
it is.
That's how he let the lion out of the cage.
That's right. All right, so we're this week we're gonna be riding Bills -3, Chargers -7.5, Chiefs -8.5, 49ers -4 with the Costanza rule in effect, and then the Steelers -6.
I'll add Costanza to the thumbnail too.
Do it. I love
It's a
it.
busy thumbnail. That's a really busy thumbnail.
All right, and then how much did I say I'm putting on this? Was it
32?
32 weeks and 4 days?
Yeah.
Yep.
32.40.
Or 3204.
Or I can go 32.44.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go 32.44.
I'll match. I'm gonna have to ride that. I mean,
Shit, I'm gonna have to do it too then.
yeah. Man, this is the week though. This is the week.
Oh, 100%. It has.
Lions out of the cage.
And it is pretty chalky week, but we also stayed away from like the bigger spreads. There's like 2 or 3 bigger,
There's
like
a few.
10.5. I think the Broncos are 10. The Lions are 11.5.
Yeah, I mean, like the Broncos at -9.5. That was one of those where I get it, and I understand that it's Bryce Young back, and he doesn't have the receivers with him. But, as I was talking about earlier on the show, it just doesn't feel like the Broncos have earned basically a
No.
double-digit spread. I just, maybe it is one of those where it's like it's so ugly you got to take it, but I'm staying away from Bo Nix and that Broncos team, doing that. Like, I do think that it could be a big matchup for Javonte Williams, everything. But I don't know. I can't trust them to do all that back-to-back weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's do it. It's the week 8 lion out of the cage, Costanza rule, Armani suits and run podcast.
There it is.
100%.
All right.
All right.
I'll see you guys.
Yep.
See you out there.